Good evening, iRacers. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and our weekly broadcast of the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship. Here we are at the glorious Interlagos. What a fantastic venue that these guys get to drive at today. Nice clear weather as well, a bit of blue sky. Lee Thompson here bringing you the action along with Samu Lukumo working the cameras. And Adam Bath joining us in commentary. Great to have you here. Adam, it's going to be a cracking race around here. These little single-seaters around Interlagos with the layout of the circuit. I think we're going to see some good racing.
Yeah, some nice long straights and some tight twisty corners as well. Fresh from the F1 qualifying as well, which was taking place just over an hour ago. We won't spoil
no
that
spoilers. Yes, thank you. No spoilers.
No spoilers for that. So yeah, I've learned my lesson in the past of ruining people's days by telling them the result. But yeah, I think this track should lend itself nicely to these pretty powerful Formula 3.5 cars. Should be good.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some cracking races so far this season. And that middle sector, Adam, is really going to allow for some good racing. I think even those single-seaters, you don't always see the closest of action. But as we're seeing Edward Samborski go through this switchback section where it just keeps going right, left the whole way around, really does allow for cars to keep battling and hanging in there and running side by side all the way until they get to the last real corner here of the track.
It does, yeah, and it really helps. Of course, you've got the main straights to do the slipstreaming, and then you've got this tight and twisty section where you can really gain and lose quite a lot of time. Fortunately, with these cars, you shouldn't lose too much time because of the dirty air around this section. So we should have some pretty nice packs, and hopefully that will lead to some good racing as well. Because yeah, this track is known for it. And yeah, the long double right-hander, then Pinarino, then a run up to Bico to Pato as well. They are corners that you would expect to be pretty easy in these cars, but I reckon they'll find them quite difficult. So it's a good test for these drivers in the 27 laps that we've got coming up.
Yeah, and as Samuli right on cue, as I was about to take my breath to talk about the championship, brings the standings up on screen. We can see that Christophe Herbonneau is still at the top of the standings as we come towards the end of this week at Interlagos. Got quite a gap at the minute to Tim Delisle there in second, Manuel Domingo jumping up a little bit, I think up into third. I don't think it was quite as high as that last week. Paul Lilbrink just a touch behind fourth, Lubomir Morichen in fifth, Rob Bohr sixth, Renato Augusto seventh, Edward Samborski eighth, Javi Villa ninth, and Thomas Knoll hanging on to that 10th place despite some tricky broadcasted races that we've seen so far. Let's have a very quick look at who we've got in the session from the top of the standings. Herbonneau in here. Oh, I don't see him at a glance. No Christophe Herbonneau today. Championship leader not here for the broadcast. Tim Delisle certainly is. Paul Lilbrink certainly is. Don't see Domingo either. So only one of the top three, two of the top four that we've got in session. So opportunity maybe for some other drivers to score some big points this week.
Should be, and just looking at the times, they are pretty close, I must admit. 4 tenths of a second between Delisle and Mataruco, but after that you've got just a couple of tenths between Ilbrink and Pinska, and then Samborski just 100th of a second ahead of Rob Bohr. So if the times are as close as this carry forward into the race, I think we're in for quite an entertaining one as we go down to the gridding process now.
Absolutely. So as you say, we can see Tim Delisle then on that pole position, just a whisper under 4 tenths over Alexis Mataruco. So great qualifying, it looks like, from Alexis there, not a name that we've seen at the sharp end so much this season. Paul Lilbrink then lining up in third, just a couple of hundredths behind second place. James Pinska, new name I think to the series, in fourth, so great to see him straight up the front as well. Edward Samborski, Rob Bohr fifth and sixth, Urker Lindstrom in seventh with Cedric Bill in eighth, Thomas Knoll in ninth with Sean White in 10th. I'm Keeman in 11th with Ronaldo Augusto in 12th. 13th is Omar Baha with Patrick Livete in 14th. Frederick Natchen in 15th with James Salt in 16th. Andreas Nilsson 17th. And then final position in 18th is Carlos Villero. So just 18 runs today. We got 2 splits here, I think, for tonight's race. So yeah, reasonable number. 18 is not too low. And we have a great view now down this curving front straight, waiting for the last cars to come on the grid and thunder down towards turn 1.
Got everybody on the grid now, Lee. Here we go.
So yeah, lights are going green, and Tim Delisle we can see is going to have it outside line as they come towards turn 1 with Alexis Marutogo then in that second. Off the line they go, and Tim DeLisle gets a great launch. He's got that first position covered as long as Alexis doesn't make a big dive into that turn one. He doesn't. A little wide line from Alexis, but Ilbrink trying to have a little sneaky look into that second, but can't quite make it. Nearly 3 wide in the background in the midfield. So Adam, and they all get through turns 1 and 2. Great job for the guys there as they come out the centre S's. Looks like it was pretty clean. I see Omar Baha losing a spot or two, but no big incidents at all.
And looking up the inside there is Erka Lindström, straight up the inside of Rob going into Stila Delago, and he is up a place up to 6. Quite a few gains in the field. We've got Thomas Knoll up a place. We've got Keeman up 1 spot 2, Latuve and Nakan, and Carlos Villarreal up a few places as well. So those are the early movers as go into this tight and twisty section you were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, and Sean White having a little bit of a nibble there at Keeman ahead, but couldn't quite make that spot that time by. I love the McLaren livery he's got on his 3.5S. Stands out very nicely indeed. No big moves at all through the grid. I'm looking at our timing screen telling us for grid change positions, and they're all plus or minus ones apart from Omar Baha, who's down 2. So very, very steady start from everyone. No big movers or shakers so far. Erka Lindström, though, under pressure from Rob Bohr. Rob Bohr going to shape up for an outside line onto turn 1, but it cuts back, gets back in the slipstream. And who's going to be hanging on to the inside? It is Lindström who tries to keep that inside line. Bohr now going to have the inside for the second apex. Great move around the outside of turn 1 there.
Yeah, Lindström have got the position just into going into this corner to see Delago on the first lap, but Bohr was able to get it back. But how long is going to be in that position though? Because Lindström is going to the outside, and he might be joined by the blue and gold car there of Thomas Knoll. But is Lindström back ahead? And we've got an interesting scrap here. This is just behind. This is Cedric Bill, Keeman involved there too.
Yeah, nearly 3 wide as they were coming down the second straight there. How close that White is tucked in behind. He's going to get a little nibble up the inside of Bill now as well. He's going to have a good position for the next corner. Great move hanging in there, ready to pounce on that position change. And so, yeah, 2 spots lost for Bill there, and Keeman and White both move up that spot. At the front, sorry, Adams. Tim DeLisle still out in front, so Alexis didn't manage to challenge, of course, on those opening laps. So Tim DeLisle from Alexis Mataruco, Paul Ilbrink in 3rd, with Jen Pinska in 4th. So Ilbrink and Pinska still in the order that they were. Edward Samborski in 5th. So the top 5 all unchanged from their grid spots. And then we got Lindström in 6th, who we just seen battling with Rob Bohr 7th. Thomas Knoll gained in 8th, and James Salt having problems there. Having qualified in 16th, now down to 17th after that incident.
Yeah, we've seen the current livery F1 cars in this grid, and there's one of the retro ones.
Mm-hmm. Arrows, is it, Adam? Your knowledge is better than mine.
Yeah, that is the orange Arrows. Was run from 99 pretty much till their departure in 2002. Good to see there James Salt with that livery as he's just passed by the Frenchman Frédéric Nacon.
And Bohr and Lindström going at it again from the looks of it as well. Side by side, Rob Bohr on the inside now for this super fast first apex as it tightens slightly into the second one. He gets that move, but is Lindström going to have a dive up inside? He does. Bohr gives him space, and here we go as they go through this middle sector. We can just keep running side by side, but in fact Lindström doesn't quite keep momentum on the apex there and has to tuck back in behind Bohr that time by. You can see Thomas Knoll just keeping a close eye on things ahead there as well, ready to pounce on any opportunities. It'd be great to see if Thomas can get a good result here, because he has had some bad luck in our broadcasted races so far. We've seen some good pace from him at most tracks, I'd say, but been getting caught up in other people's incidents in different places, unfortunately. But let's look and see if Lindström can get a good run in the slipstream ahead, with Rob Bohr not having the toe in front. So Bohr already taking a defensive position. He knows Lindström's coming. Lindström switches to the outside, and can Bohr keep the apex speed on the inside? Just maybe pushes out, or not pushes out, but just holds his turn in a fraction late, just so that Lindström can't turn in as well. And Lindström has to tuck back in and have another go of it down the straight.
Let's see what the Flying Finn can do then. He's on the move. He's trying to get the position once again, going in Stila Delago. Around the outside, is it going to work here? It's good positioning by both of them, and he does go off the circuit. They're still wheel to wheel, and it looks like it's going to be Bohr that's just going to maintain the place. And he does.
Bohr does, yeah, absolutely. So Lindström maybe going to have a little sniff up inside again as Bohr runs a little bit wide, couldn't carry the apex speed. Great move there from Lindström. So that took all of 4 corners to get that move done. Good racing from the two of them. Bohr did a great job of giving the space on the outside through turns 4 and 5, and that allowed Lindstrom to try and continue to get that run and get that position made. So, contact behind though between Kierman and White, and Bill, I think, did he just make contact? I glanced away at the screen for a minute as well. But White's got big damage on the front of that McLaren livery. Unfortunate for those two. We'll see the replay of it now. At first glance, it looked like a racing incident, but let's have a better look at it now.
Yeah, he's going up the inside, too wide through there. Oh, just a little bit of a touch, and then gets clipped on the afterwards, which removes the front wing.
Yeah, so it's just car on the inside. Kierman just couldn't quite keep a tight enough line with White on the outside there, but it said racing incident, I think. Certainly not anything malicious in that one, just unfortunate for White. And again, Bohr and Lindstrom battling hard down the second straight. And Thomas Knoll now really looking to get involved, having a little jink around, but backs off. Rob Bohr's going to try and hang around the outside, but he can't do what Lindstrom managed to do last time by.
The worrying thing for these guys is that they're really starting to lose touch with all the cars in front of them. They did 21s on the last lap. The guys in front of them, the lead 5, were doing low 120s as Thomas Knoll, the Austrian, gets passed by Kierman up the inside there.
Yeah, loses that spot after looking to challenge the cars ahead. Just got caught out of position slightly, I think, and yeah, Kierman snapped that up. Thank you very much. Just a little bit wide on apex for Kierman though, and you see Knoll closing on apex, but not quite close enough to do much. So yeah, Kierman gaining 3 spots now from his grid position comfortably into the top 10. Be good to see if he can continue that form through the rest of the race. He had a pretty good run last week, I seem to remember, and then just fell away a bit at the end, I think, with a couple of little incidents again. Already starting lap 6 as they cross over the line. Lindstrom and Rob Bohr going at it again.
Yeah, into the first corner. This is shades of Alesi v Barrichello in 96 here. Around the outside goes Bohr. At least he's got the move done going into the centre rest this time. We've seen him try to do it in Interlagos and he hasn't been able to pull it off. But now Lindstrom's got the slipstream. Will he be able to get back by before we get into turn 3?
Yeah, he's having a good go at it. So Lindstrom up the inside. Rob Bohr trying to get a little bit of cutback, I think, on that one. Lindstrom holds a tight enough line, I thought, initially, but Bohr does get his nose straight up the inside there. And again, Lindstrom's going to have the inside now with a super fast double right-hander. Bohr doing a good job on the first part, trying to hang around the outside, but goes a little bit too wide. Lindstrom dives up inside into the hairpin. And these two, I think, Adam, are just going to keep going at it all race long, it looks like, at the minute. Again, good clean racing so far from the two of them. Hopefully that can continue in this great fight, doesn't get spoilt by any contact at all.
Yeah, fantastic. Scrap already 6 laps in the books. Not too far away from approaching 1/3 distance here as he goes to John Cal, the left-hander, before we get hard on the gas for the next about 20 seconds or so through the sweeping left-hander. Let's see if Bohr can use the slipstream to his advantage as he did on the previous tour going into the centre rest. We're looking from the rear of the flying Finn, but here comes the Technicolor number 3. Is he going to be able to get it done around the outside into the centre S? Lindstrom's late on the brakes, just like he did on the previous lap. The Benelux driver, Bohr, is back up into 6th place again.
Yeah, nice clean job again. So like I say, Rob Bohr got that position. He got a good run coming out of the first corner, so it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for Lindstrom to get enough of a run now into turn 4 and 5. But Rob Bohr weaving across the track, trying to not allow Lindstrom the opportunity to get alongside. Lindstrom loses a little bit of momentum, and Kierman now is going to have a little sniff on Lindstrom as well. But I think Lindstrom will have it covered this time by. And let's be interesting to see now whether Lindstrom's got the pace. Is he going to close straight back up on Rob Bohr? And in fact, he did just through that corner, Adam, just through the double apex right there. He's straight onto the back of Rob Bohr and just breaks away from Kierman a touch.
Yeah, he gained quite a lot of time through there. He's already gained 3 places in this race as Kierman. He wants to try and make it 4, maybe even 5 going into Pico de Pato. And now down the hill through this left-hander and then back up again to Junkel, the junction. Final real corner on this circuit, really. Now let's see what he can do in the slipstream. He doesn't get the best of runs on the exit, but as we've seen with Bohr and Lindstrom, the toe around this front straight is very powerful indeed. Another fastest lap of the race by Tim Delisle. He's literally running away with this one, 3.5 second advantage. Here they come over the timing line, and yeah, you can see Kierman pulling up. And this has been a fantastic final sector for Rob Bohr because he has been able to really stretch his legs from this battle group now. He's got a 1.1 second advantage over Lindstrom and Kierman here. Yeah,
making the most of the opportunity to nail his his lap and hit those marks and really try and string those sectors together, pull away a touch. Back at the front, it's still looking pretty consistent. Tim Delisle from Alexis from Ilbrink, because only 8 tenths between Alexis Mataruco and Paul Ilbrink, second and third though, so that could be hotting up a little bit. They had absolutely identical lap times last time by, so we'll keep a bit of an eye on the timing screens there. Maybe you can check the timing screen yourself if you're watching live. The link to the timing pages in YouTube chat, or Twitch chat for that matter, if you're watching on Twitch as well. But yeah, down to half a second now, so Paul Ilbrink feeling like he's got the opportunity to put a bit of pressure on and gain that second position over a very sad looking, just plain black liveried Alexis Mataruco.
Yeah, it's a classic battle of blue v red. At least that's what it looks like on my screen anyway. Over the line we go. Mataruco does a 120.2, but as you mentioned, Paul Ilbrink, he doesn't want to stay in this third place for very much longer, and he puts in a new personal best of 119.8. The only driver that bettered that on that previous lap was our race leader Tim Delisle, who did a 19.7. So Paul is a man on a mission, but is he going to be able to get up the inside here into turn 3? He does feign to the inside, but no way is the driver from Hispano-America going to let him by at all. Alexis making sure that he stays in that second place, at least for the time being, as we're on lap 9, 1/3 distance in this race.
Yeah, so yeah, only a third of the way through. It feels like a lot has been happening already. And we can see why it feels that way. If we have a quick glance at the track map, we see from position 6th all the way down to position 12/13th. That's just one solid gaggle of cars. So no wonder we've had so much to look at so far. It just feels like everyone's maybe just taken a slight breather for a minute, and things have just settled down for a touch as we head into this sort of second third of the race. And yeah, the closest battle on screen is still the closest battle on the field between Ilbrink and Mataruco. Kierman and Lindstrom and Thomas Knoll are starting to close up together a little bit as well, but still half a second between each of them, so nothing immediate happening for the moment. What kind of run is Ilbrink getting down this front straight, Adam? Is Mataruco going to look to defend? He's not. Ilbrink sees that opportunity clear and open. Nice move, and Mataruco, I feel, just gave him all of the space, just allowed him through, decided he wants to make sure he gets that good result and not risk battling Ilbrink too hard. Is he going to come straight back at him? I suspect he's just going to sit in the toe here.
See what he does. He's looking to the outside. Alexis going into the left-hander, but not able to get it done there. And Paul Ilbrink, the man with the number 1 on the car, because he's got the best iRacing in the field, is now up into second place. Let's see what he can do about trying to stem the flow of that increasing gap. It's 4.9 seconds between Tim and Paul. See if he can start to eat into that over the next few laps.
Yeah, kind of an interesting tactical decision from Mataruco there, where he allowed Ilbrink by so easily into turn 1, just didn't put up a fight at all, gave him all the space that he wanted, and then compromised himself when he tried to challenge back and got himself stuck on the outside, and allowed Pinska and Samborski behind to really close a lot. So kind of felt like he needed to kind of pick one or two options a little bit more there, either put up a bit more of a fight the whole time, or once Ilbrink had gone by, just trying to hang in his under his gearbox as much as possible and get pulled along. But it's not cost him too much for now. But yeah, again, that battle then just tailing off as Ilbrink pulls 3/4 of a second since he made that move during that lap.
Through the centre, goes Paul now, and 7/10 of a second, you said, between second and third place. Lindstrom puts in a new personal best. Here's a fight for 11th position, and it's the local hero, pretty much. It's Reinaldo Augusto in 11th, with Andreas Nilsson in 12th. The Brazilian Formula 1 fans haven't got anybody to cheer these days, but here we go. We've got someone in the Formula 3.5 series to cheer on. However, behind him, he's got Andreas Nilsson, who has been a man on the move. He's gained 5 positions, the most out of anybody in the field this afternoon. And see if he can get by here. It's Brazil v Sweden as we go into the bottom of the hill at Ferradura.
Yeah, it'd be great to see if Augusto can get himself into the top 10 for his home Grand Prix, if you like. Been a feature of, I think, every single broadcast that we've done this season, certainly the vast majority anyway, so it'd be good to see him get a strong result. But yeah, Nilsson has certainly got other ideas at the minute, as you say, in that 12th place, looking to push up into the top 10 as well. They're not that far behind, of course. Cedric Bill and Thomas Knoll just a second or so each down the road, so they've still got the opportunity to try and make those spots. Let's see what kind of run Nilsson gets out of Juncao on this lap, and can he make more use of that toe to Augusto, then Augusto can make 2 Bill ahead of him.
Yeah, Gusto is 1.1 seconds away from Cedric Bill. I'm not too sure how good the slipstream is on these cars, but I don't know if that'll be enough to have too much of an impact, but we'll wait and see. Over the line they go to start lap 12, and Augusto, credit to him, putting a new personal best, a 120.592, and we're starting to see that quite a bit over the last few laps. Here is a fight for 14th and 15th. It's Frederic Nakun up the inside into the Senna S, and the multicoloured, many shades of green car, number 13, is up into 14th place and demotes Jose Carlos Villarejo back to 15th.
And he feels the need to go super defensive really early, but in the end, yeah, Villarejo has no answer for him, and yeah, National, as you say, comfortably holds that position as they head into the infield. So yeah, again, Tim DeLisle still looking very comfortable in front. Paul Ilbrink has pulled a couple more tenths on Alexis Mataruco since we last checked in as well. So Tim DeLisle first, Ilbrink second, Mataruco in third. And then we can see all the way down from 4th to 7th, they're all in their original grid spots. So James Pinsker doing a great job of holding his position. Again, we've not seen him through the rest of the season, I don't believe. And he's got, certainly the highest I rating out there of the top 7 cars. So yeah, good job from him. Edward Samborski, it does say highest I rating. I meant he's got the lowest I rating, so he's doing well to be in the sharp end of the field. You get my meaning. Edward Samborski in that 5th, Rob Bohr in 6th, Erka Lindstrom in 7th, Kieman in 8th, Thomas Knoll 9th, Cedric Bill 10th. So yeah, we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 in their original starting positions. You'd think it'd been a boring race so far, but it hasn't felt that way.
No, it's been pretty good, and we're just approaching half race distance now. I understood what you meant as well,
Okay, good.
regarding the iRating, that's for sure. As we go into the infield section again, it's quite remarkable really that this scan of Brazil was done, I believe, in around about 2011, and the track has moved on quite a bit since then. You've got a lot more runoff area on the exit of the Senna S, and also you've got the new pit buildings as well. Hopefully it will stay on the F1 calendar for a few more years. Of course, there are rumours that Rio could be making a return, a Rio street circuit, I believe. But yeah, this track is popular amongst the drivers, that's for sure.
Yeah, it would be another one of those circuits, wouldn't it? That'd be sorely missed if it goes. And then the sad thing is as well, is you know that if it does leave, within 2 or 3 years of Formula 1 leaving, the circuit would just be gone, wouldn't it? You know, it'd just be swallowed up by the city. So let's keep our fingers crossed that they can keep it there. It's a great circuit. Obviously, it's a very small circuit, really. You know, the F1 cars fly around there in such a short amount of time. But it's a great track to watch at. You know, the bowl layout just presents such an opportunity for the spectators to get a great view of the circuit. And you see, have they changed the grandstands down the front straight as part of their works, Adam? Because obviously, historically, those grandstands on the front straight put the spectators, you know, their noses straight over the edge of the circuit, practically.
Yeah, I remember when it was Lewis Hamilton v Felipe Massa. Ted Kravitz went into the grandstand with a British flag to see what the reaction would be. It wasn't very good. Not too sure if it's changed since then. Some of the F1 cameras were in the grandstands during qualifying today, and even though there's no Brazilian driver to cheer on, the crowds were still there in their masses. The last F1 driver from Brazil there was probably Felipe Massa or maybe Felipe Nasser. I'm not sure which one departed first on that one.
I think Massa would have been the last one, is my guess. That's my hunch.
Yeah.
And of course, local hero Rubens Barrichello we see on the iRacing service fairly regularly. You know, we see him pop up in different sessions. I quite often see, you know, a random Reddit post saying, "Oh my God, I saw, you know, Rubens," and that sort of stuff. Of course, these days it tends to be more people talking about a certain Lando and Max that they see popping up in sessions. But yeah, great to see Rubens and his kid running in the service.
I believe Andrew Woodhouse has been in the same race as Rubinho. I can't say I've been the same. I don't know if he's a big fan of this circuit because whenever he raced here, whether it be in a Stewart, Jordan or a Ferrari or maybe even a Williams, his look was absolutely shocking around here.
I liked your phrasing as well, saying that Andrew Woodhouse was in the same race as him, not raced against him. But I think that's probably a pretty fair representation, I'd imagine, for most of us if we had to find ourselves in a session with Rubens. Right, so still not much kicking off in the field at the minute. The closest battle that I'm seeing on screen is half a second between Ronaldo Augusto in 11th and Andreas Nilsson in 12th, down to 3/4 tenths now. So that might just be continuing on. These guys have been in that position for a little while already, though, so we'll see if anything develops. Nielsen, like we saw. Oh, I just saw a car off track in the background there. Don't see anything changing on time screens. Perhaps I was just seeing anything, as I thought I saw one of the French-coloured 3.5s off behind the barrier somewhere, but all seems good for now. But yeah, Nielsen, is he going to get much more of a draft down here from Augusto? Augusto looks like he's still got enough from Bill in front to negate that, and close within just a couple of attempts, but it's not enough that time by. At the front, we've got a couple of smaller gaps developing as well between Mataruco, Ilbrink. They're still just 7-8 tenths apart. Here comes Nielsen. As I look back at my screen, I see that Nielsen's finally been able to make the move down inside on Augusto. Augusto gives him plenty of space into turn 4 there. Is he going to have a little sniff back at him? I think that Nielsen's going to have that inside covered. Well, not really. Augusto has a little bit of a look, but has to back out of it in the end.
Yeah, it was a textbook move up the inside into turn 3 there by Nielsen. Augusto, that's not so textbook, looking at the inside into the right-hander. I remember Trulli and Suttle having a bit of a disagreement over a potential move at that corner a couple of years ago. But yeah, that is Nielsen through up into 11th place now. He continues his charge up through the field. He's only one spot away from being inside the top 10. He's gained six positions in this race so far. I wonder if the track conditions are starting to evolve a bit, because the lap times continue to tumble. Tim Delisle puts in a new fastest lap of the race, and Mataruco and whatnot, they're now lapping in the 119s too. So you can see the conditions on the side of your screen there. 23 degrees ambient temperature, 47 degrees on the track, and looks like it's starting to get rubbed in a little bit now as we see that drivers continue to set personal and fastest laps of the races as we continue, as we have 11 laps to go.
Yeah, like I say, guys, obviously growing in confidence out there. It looks like they're having a much easier time of it than they did last week. We saw cars losing the rear left, right and centre at Donington. I'm a quick brain fade, but pretty sure we're at Donington. And yeah, it was a real tough race for the guys, but the cars look much happier here. I've not really seen any unforced errors so far. And perhaps that's helped the battling that we've had. The guys have had the confidence to really throw the cars into the corners and trust that they're going to work. But yeah, second, third and fourth here, all within just a couple of seconds. I thought Ilbrink was going to gradually move away from Mataruco and Pinsker behind, but it's not happened so far. And yeah, James Pinsker just coming back on these guys slightly. So last time by, they all lapped within a tenth of each other.
Yeah, Pinsker was pretty impressive there with a 119.9. Ilbrink again puts in a new PB, a 119.8, 995 for Mataruco, 993 for Pinsker. So the intervals between them get ever closer, just a couple of thousandths between the man sitting in third and the driver sitting in fourth place. New PBs for Bohr, for Lindstrom and Kieman. They too are now lapping in the 119, so they're starting to grow in confidence even more. You can see there that is Rob Bohr pulled away from Lindstrom and Kieman when they were having their duel once he had got by. And right now he's in a bit of no man's land, really. To be fair, he's probably in the loneliest spot of the whole race. He's got Edward Samborski 3.5 seconds up the road, and then he's got Lindstrom 2.5 seconds behind him. So right now he's just running his own race, and he's doing a pretty good job running where he started in that 6th spot.
Yeah, really did do a good job of finally breaking that battle from Lindstrom behind. And like I said, it's giving the opportunity to really solidify that 6th position. Great to see these regular guys still at the sharper end of the field. Samborski, Bohr have tended to be around that sort of top 5 position. So yeah, another good results from these two on the card so far. Yeah, session's just calming down a little bit. My timing screen is gradually turning more of a shade of white. It was a much more angry shade of like red and orange earlier on. Just got 2 battles that have got within a second of each other at a minute. Nielsen and Augusto still 7 tenths apart, and Pinsker and Mataruco still 7.5 tenths apart as well. So those are the ones for us to keep half an eye on, but no immediate battles developing for the minute. Like I say, the guys are just putting their laps in, getting a little bit quicker and quicker. 8 laps remaining now. Any chance of anyone else squeezing into the top 10? I think that Nielsen is going to struggle to move up ahead of Bill now that they've got a 2.8 second gap to Bill in front. So that's going to require an instant ahead for either Nielsen or Augusto to break into that top 10. But we can see Augusto hasn't been dropped from Nielsen here. You know, he's still hanging in within that second. And again, Nielsen's going to struggle to get the toe from Bill in front now they've dropped back that little bit more. So that might enable the opportunity for Augusto to have a good comeback here.
Yeah, not too sure what happened to Nielsen on that previous tour. He was 2 seconds slower than Bill. Augusto Augusto was 2 seconds quicker, but he wasn't able to get by either. So I'm really not sure what befell the Swede on that previous lap. But yeah, it looks like Cedric Bill's 10th spot is pretty safe for now. Obviously, he's got to get through the remaining 8 laps here. But yeah, Cedric Bill, who was starting to feel the pressure from them a couple of laps ago, he's not feeling that right now as we go into the center S again.
Yeah, looking pretty clean through those center S's for the guy. Augusto just in the background, perfectly on cue, gets a little bit out of shape on the second apex, taking a lot of curb and just having to make a little steering correction to keep the rear end in check, but no real dramas it looked like. If we had Sam Fitzpatrick in the box today, I think he'd be telling us that it looks like all the cars are running a very high downforce. We can see how much rear wing are on these cars. It looks like there's just a vertical rear wing that's on the back of those cars. They're trying to create so much downforce as, you know, you've got that huge front straight, of course, working its way all the way from Junção all the way to turn 1. But so much time can be gained through that infield with that extra downforce as Tim Delisle begins lap 21, looking very comfortable in front. New fastest lap of the race, and he's just creeping up towards a 10-second gap now to Paul Ilbrink in that second position.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon we can get into the 118s by the time we're done here? Delisle, he's definitely getting close as he puts in another purple on that last lap.
Definitely feels, as you say, like it's going to be heading that way. So we saw not long ago they were in the high 19s, and yeah, for him to already bang in a low 19, he might just scrape that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. These cars do seem to be getting quicker and quicker. They don't tend to suffer too much with you know, tyre wear. Of course, they can suffer with tyre temperature a little bit with the tyre model on iRacing, as most of the cars do. If you work it that little bit too hard, then it's difficult to recover it. But yeah, if they keep it under control, then the cars are going to keep getting quicker and quicker with that lower fuel load. Let's run on board for a minute with James Pinsker as he's still trying to hunt down a podium position. That would be great for Pinsker if on his first broadcasted race, brackets that I can remember. If he can get on the podium, that would be a real result for him, I'm sure. But yeah, just 6/10 now down on Mataruco. We can see the battle box in the right-hand corner showing their relative gaps. And of course, Mataruco ahead still got the toe as well from Ilbrink ahead. So Pinsker's going to struggle to gain too much down the straight. Gained a 10th was already, to be fair, since they come from Junção. So he's going to close up a little bit, but not enough to challenge. I wonder how fair as we come down the second straight. Now he's in a good strong position, 2/10 down. Can he hold it through the S's? Hits the apex, takes a lot more curb, you can see, than Mataruco ahead. Mataruco takes more curb on the second and third apex, and he lost just a 10.5 or so through that sequence. But Pinsker, I feel like, might be right under his gearbox as we get to turn 4 here, but it's not quite enough, just 2/10. And he's got to try and hang in there through the infield to give him a good opportunity for the next lap.
You'll see how much time he loses. This is a replay we're about to see of Andreas Nielsen. What is going to happen here? He has got Reinaldo Augusto in front of him, up the inside into the Sierra del Lago, and through goes the Scandinavian. The Swede is up into 11th place now.
Yeah, so interesting. So yeah, so they had switched back already then when we were away, and then Augusto got back overtaken. So I wonder if Nielsen had made yet a second error. You pointed out the 122 lap he did. I wonder if he made yet another error that allowed Augusto to leap in front, and then Nielsen got back ahead again. But yeah, Augusto just falling back slightly now after that move. Looks like he's going to be fairly well settled, I think, into that 12th position with just 4 laps remaining.
After we cut away, Mataruco has stayed within a couple of tenths of a second of. Pinsker's remained within a couple of tenths of a second of Mataruco. The gap remains 3 tenths as they go through the center S, so pretty much no time was lost at all. Sam Borski puts in a new personal best, but it looks like that Mataruco, the man from Hispano America, was able to pull away. Just a couple of attempts going through Curva de Sol in the Senna S, and that's what's been able to keep Pinsker at arm's length. But we'll see what car 12 can do through this section again. This is what we missed when we were looking at the replay. Up over the crest and hard on the brakes. Pinsker, the man from UK and Ireland. Now through Laungina, the downhill left-hander, and then back up again towards Bico de Pato. This is always a difficult corner to get right. Very easy to lock the inside front going through here. And I tell you what, it's been a pretty good lap by Alexis here, because he's been able to pull the gap up to about 3/4 of a second before they get into junk out.
Yeah, and as a result, that's allowed him to close a lot more Lilbrink as well. So Paul Lilbrink now getting drawn into this battle, and you can see that now the overlay is seeing it as a battle for second instead of a battle for third now. So yeah, Lilbrink needs to keep putting in these laps for the last couple of times around to make sure he can hold on to that second position. Yeah, just a second as they come into turn one. And as you say, Mataruco, what was his lap time on that one? Yeah, so actually in the end, he matched Ilbrink. It looked like maybe he gained a bit on Ilbrink that time by. But even Pinsker was... sorry, I was looking at the wrong column. Mataruco was a tenth quicker. 2 tenths quicker nearly than Ilbrink that time by. So yeah, did gain that little bit.
Yeah, Pinsker looks like he's really benefiting from the toe down the front straight. He's able to really close up on Alex Mataruco, but it's then through this section and maybe in even the final sector where the Argentine is able to pull a couple of tenths. We haven't got too long to go in this one. We've got, at the end of this lap, we're going to have 3 more tours of this circuit in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Pinsker is starting to run out of time. He's responded on this lap though. He put in a fastest sector of the race in sector 1. Don't know whether Alexis managed to telepathically work that out, because he's just put a fastest sector 4 of the race in on this lap as well. So they're all still pushing as they get ever closer to the checkered flag. Let's see how much this gap comes down this time as they go over the line to start lap 25. It's going to be down to 2 tenths. He's almost within striking distance going into the Senna S.
Yeah, just tantalisingly close each time. I do wonder if that's going to, if Pinsker gets a little bit of a sniff, is he going to make a little bit of a dive, because he's been so close on so many occasions. But this time out of turn 3 has been the closest he's been, I think, out of turn 3. It's still not quite going to be enough. You can see he's not closing quick enough as they approach turn 4. But yeah, he's just running out of time each time before they get into the corner. Instantly just having a quick glance at Tim Delisle's lap times. His pace has dropped off a little bit since he banged in that faster lap of race. I wonder if he's just cooling the tyres, giving them a little bit of a breather, and then going for one last quick lap at the end, just for his own competitive edge of trying to get as quick a lap time as he can. But yeah, it looks like he'll be struggling to get into the 1:18s, I think.
Putting a purple on this lap. I don't know whether this might be the lap that you were mentioning here. We'll have to see. He hasn't got too many left if he wants to get into the 1:18. So when we get to the line, he'll be starting the penultimate lap. A good exit from a Juncal there by Mataruco. But here is Tim Delisle. Let's see if he does get the 1:18 as he comes over the line. No, he doesn't. 1:19.3, pretty close, but no cigar there for the man from Australia and New Zealand as start the penultimate lap of the race now.
And Pinsker again tantalisingly close as they come through the Senna S's. Again, he's going to struggle to be able to close enough. That's the thing. Mataruco ahead has just about got that bit of toe from Milbrink in front of him, so it's just not allowing Pinsker the opportunity to get his claws into the back of him. But you can see they closed to within half a second almost of Ilbrink as they came through turn 4 there. So Ilbrink still just getting drawn in a little bit. Mataruco again was a tenth quicker than Ilbrink last time by. So definitely still opportunities, a battle to watch still for second, third and fourth position. Again, looking to have a quick look back through the rest of the field and see that Koeman is closing a little bit on Erka Lindstrom now, just within half a second between those two. So Koeman trying to make up a last gasp spot, and Omar Baha about to make a move, and does make a move on James Salt for the final position, 16th and 17th on the grid. In fact, they're still side by side as Salt and Baha continue to fight it out as they come out of Juncal onto the front straight. And James Salt very, very lucky not to get collected by Baha's instant. The leaders are coming through. And Adam, James Pinsker, I was singing his praises all race long. one of the lower iRatings of the top half of the field, doing a great job of trying to close onto the podium, and in the end just gets completely taken out for no fault of his own whatsoever. Really unfortunate. It's a bit of a shame, Omar, that you were rolling forward on the track. You're an experienced guy. We've seen you in many races here this season. Cars are coming. Look, just stay on the brakes. Stay on the brakes. And it gives the guys a chance. So that is going to be one very unhappy driver there in James Penske. It's a real shame, as I say, because he had been having a cracking run all race long.
Real head in hands moment there. Shades of Webber and Alonso in 2003 when Alonso went around the blind left-hander in the wet and saw that parked Jaguar. He was ignoring the yellow flags on that occasion as well, but here comes Tim Delisle then. He was able to just about get through that carnage, and it looks like he is going to come through and take the victory.
Yeah, it's been a lights to flag, looking very comfortably. Got the launch off line that he needed, wasn't challenged into turn one, and he just strolled away ever since. He did in the end make over that 10-second gap. Is he going to bang in a fastest lap for the end? I feel like perhaps not this time by. But yeah, very comfortable from Tim Delisle. He did, there you go, proves him wrong. Fastest lap of a race. Doesn't quite scrape into the 18, so Adam very, very close. But yeah, cracking drive from Tim Delisle there. Paul Lilbrink does hold on to that second. Mataruco, very good third position as well. Again, strongest result that we've seen from him in the broadcasted races. Really kept Ilbrink on his toes all the way through. Samborski comes over line, Bohr comes over line, Lindstrom holds on over Kieman as well for 6th and 7th. Thomas Noel in the background there, had a few battles early on, but then a bit of a lonelier race, finishes in 8th. Same for Bill, really. And Nielsen then takes that 10th position. Does get 10th in the end for Nielsen after gaining that spot from Penske dropping out the outstanding.
And that was an extra place for him as well. So he finishes as the biggest mover with 7 spots. Here comes the Frenchman, Patrick Letuve, over the line. He's just going to be followed home by Frederick Nakun. And then that just leaves Villarejo to come across the line. Here he comes, the man from Iberia, over the line, and he completes our 14 cars that finished on the last lap. Got a feel for Penske. He was within 1 lap of potentially a spot on the podium, but his loss and very much Samborski's gain. He finishes in a P4 in the end for what has been a pretty entertaining race, as everybody is now finished.
It was an entertaining race. I'd say it was really full of action in the first, 1/3. We saw lots of cars running side by side, lots of good, clean driving, to be fair. We didn't really see too many contacts at all. Just calmed down a little bit in the middle of the race. And then that battle for the final 2 podium positions really heated up at the end. And again, commiserations to James Penske for getting taken out on a penultimate lap there. Real shame, as he was challenging for that final podium spot. So Tim Delisle then, as we saw, taking a win from Paul Ilbrink by 13 seconds in the end. Fastest lap of a race as well. Pole position, clean sweep from Tim Delisle. Paul Ilbrink, as I said, in second. Alexis Mataruco taking that podium spot. Edward Samborski in the end gaining that last car spot from Penske dropping down, so he got that 4th position from Rob Bohr in 5th. Erka Lindstrom in 6th with Kieman in 7th. Thomas Noel in 8th. Cedric Bill in 9th with Andreas Nielsen in 10th. Ronaldo Augusto in 11th, Patrick Letuve in 12th, Frederick Natchen in 13th with Carlos Villarejo in 14th. James Penske then was classified in 15th, a lap down after his contact. James Salt in 16th, and then Omar Bajo, who we saw involved in that contact, 17th. And then Sean White ending up 24 laps down, unfortunately again caught up in the incident earlier on in the race. So great job from the guys. 18 runners, we saw lots of action out there.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what these guys can give us for the next 2 races. And next week we head to North America to Speedway Indiana for the penultimate round of the season at the Indianapolis Road Circuit. That should be interesting. And then after that, on the week beginning the 26th of November, we've got the final round of the current iRacing season 4 at Road America Elkhart Lake as well. So 2 good tracks to end the season, and if the action is anything like what we've seen at Interlagos today, I think we're in for a pretty good climax to the campaign.
Yeah, I think so. Road America being the final race of the season definitely sounds good. I always feel like you get great racing at Road America, and between there and Indy with the long straights they've got. Again, plenty of opportunity for the guys to stretch their legs, make the most of that toe, and try and get some moves done. So we're just going to have a few minutes left of the broadcast as we kind of use up our booked time. Paul Lilbrink, where are you? You're our regular interviewee for the 3.5. But anyone else, of course, let's jump into the interview waiting area on the Discord link that is shown in YouTube chat. But whilst we fill the time, perhaps we'll have a quick look at the start, if it's available, Samuli, and we can see how the guys all got through the Senna S's cleaning on an opening lap. It was great to see no contact that was obvious, and certainly no positions that were lost. So that, I say, enabled a good clean race with everyone right in the hunt. So let's have a look at the midfield and see how they got through those opening corners. So we see Dalal at the front looking pretty comfortable. Rob Bohr ending up 3 wide look as they go into turn 1 with Bill, I guess it is, on the inside of him. So yeah, Lundstrom, Bohr and Bill 3 wide as they went through turn 1. Did a great job. Bill lost out there a couple of positions and yeah, came worse off. But yeah, very good job from those guys. That could have been very, very tricky. But yeah, lots of side by side as they then came into turn 4. Lundstrom coming straight back on Bohr as well. So yeah, good clean driving from the guys there. Easily could have been a big incident in what, 6th, 7th position it would have been, and really broken up the field behind.
Yeah, good clean start by everybody there. Don't often see that through the Senna S.
Nope.
Not too much runoff area. Of course, on this current scan of iRacing, there's a lot of grass and barriers to run into. These days, it's all just tarmac runoff. So these drivers definitely do need to watch out in the early going. Of course, cold tyres and brakes, but they did do an impeccable job as they go through Vico de Pato. One thing I was intrigued to look at. Oh no, we are now joined by the man who finished in 2nd place, Paul Lilbrink, for an interview.
Hello.
Hi Paul, you heard my call, so thank you for joining us and giving us an interview tonight. Good, strong podium again. Paul, we've seen that pretty much every week from you on the pole positions week in, week out. Obviously didn't have an answer for Tim Dalal in front, but it was looking a little bit twitchy at the end there with 3rd and 4th closing behind you.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky for me. I don't know, just lacking a bit of pace, and yeah, it was like more looking backwards than looking forwards this race. So I'm happy that I didn't make too many mistakes that would let Alexis close in too much at the end, but happy with P2.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really see. I mean, last week I was commenting the whole race long about how many unforced errors we saw from so many drivers throughout the field struggling, it seemed, with tyres, presumably. Didn't see a single unforced error that I can immediately think of in this race from any driver. Cars much easier to drive here at Interlagos. Looked like everyone had a lot more confidence in them.
Well, I did see like one unforced error, I think, at the end when there was a car standing in the middle of the straight out of the final corner. But yeah, I don't know. The track was like really hot though this week, like very high track temperatures, which made it a bit tricky. And it's like easy to make like unforced mistakes that don't like throw you off the track, but will lose you like a lot of time coming out of Juncal last corner, and like a little bit in the twisty bits as well. You can like miss the apex and just lose like 2-3 tenths in a single corner. So it's really like tricky to get it all right, but yeah, I think most people manage well enough, I guess.
Yeah, and so you were certainly one of them with that strong result, as you say. Interlagos, obviously, a great track to hot lap on. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Same for racing as well, with the infield and the kind of the constant switchbacking of corners. Next week we're at Indianapolis Road, and then Road America the week after that. We hear Indianapolis Road. It's always felt it feels a bit bland from me when I've driven it before. What's your feelings on it? Apart from the oval section, of course, which is unique.
Yeah, I haven't raced there in a long time, I think, on the road course. But yeah, it's not like the best track, but it's okay. And I guess it provides a bit, a couple like overtaking opportunities with like the long straights. But yeah, it's not like a great flowing track like this one for sure. So it will be fine, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, like I say, I reckon we'll see some good racing over these cars. Plenty of opportunity for the toe to really kick in, and you guys to make those moves then into turn 1. Yes, a great result again. Paul, thanks for jumping in and giving us the interview. If you'd like to do your weekly roll call.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting, as I promised last week. So thanks for that. And I want to thank all our team members at Red Ghost Online for helping out, and our partners and sponsors, Grand Simulation, Joe Real Timing, Arma Centrum, as a Sim Race, ModeF Podcast, Turn Racing, Sim Mortal, Six Sideways, and Pixel Dust.
Great. Thank you very much, Tim, from us as well for allowing Paul to run in series such as this. So yeah, cheers, Paul. We'll see you again next week at Indy Road.
Right.
Cheers. Right, and then also joining us for interview then is Edward Samborski. Adam, let's hear about how his race went.
Oh well, Eddie, welcome to the interview room. 4th place for you in the end. You're able to gain a spot in the dying embers of the race following a big crash in front of you. How would you assess that race today?
Average. I drove average. It wasn't bad by any means. I would have rather been up fighting for P2. I had understeer. I think it was the track temp. I took a gamble. I was anticipating a hotter track temp, and I lost. We got a colder track temp. So, what are you gonna do? You know, you got to roll the dice sometimes.
The draft looked pretty powerful out there, I must admit. You had a fantastic duel in the early stages between yourself and Urka out there.
Oh, absolutely. I was trying my hardest to gain in the corners, and then I was overdriving a little bit, but the draft just kept me right on him. It was great. It was like I don't know how to describe it. It was just convenient. That's the best way to put it, because I was making mistakes, but I wasn't losing time.
Well, that's it. You were trying different tactics. Try and get by in the first corner and see if you can hold on from there, or try and hang back and then try and get him into turn 3. It was very interesting to see which one of them worked out in the end for you.
And that was the same thing I was doing. I'm like, man, which one's gonna work? I'm trying this, I'm trying that, going left, going right, and you hang. I think it was James hung tough, right? And in the end, what are you gonna do? You give it your best, and sometimes you get it done, sometimes you don't.
Even though you said you were struggling with the tires out there, you were continuing to improve your lap times by the end. You were able to get into the 119s as we got towards the end of the race.
Yes, I was very thankful for that, because I was checking out the relative, and I just saw Rob Bohr start, because one lap he popped into my mirrors, and I was like, I didn't pass anyone. What's going on here?
Cool. Well, next weekend then, the series heads to a bit closer to home for you. It's in North America. We head to Indianapolis Road. We had Paul Ilbrink in here talking about the track. What's your thoughts on that circuit?
I have never driven it on iRacing. I've driven it on other types of games, but never competitively. So I am, for lack of a better term, unprepared and terrified, because I have a week to learn it, master it, and make sure I have everything right. And I have nothing to go on. Usually I rewatch old races, see what I did wrong, where I can improve, what I might try to do for the future, and I have nothing. So it's I guess roll the dice. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think this current version of the road course on iRacing is a bit different to the ones that the IndyCar series run now, I think, anyway. So it should be pretty interesting. Plus, of course, you got the long bank turn at turn 13, a bit similar to here at Interlagos, where you'll get to do a bit more of that slipstream.
That is about the only thing I think will keep me in touch with everyone, unless, I don't know, maybe I'll just magically get it right. But usually, racing doesn't work like that. Usually, second or third time at a track, you improve, and that's when you start. I feel like you're the most competitive, but I'll stay optimistic, put the time in, and hope for the best.
Great. Well, before we let you go, then, did you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
I'm gonna thank you guys for broadcasting. It's really great to finally have a nice, consistent race where we can get some points. iRacing for putting this on, because it's still great fun, and I'm gonna thank VRS, because I'm gonna use them to learn the track, and then Fanatec Wheels.
Well, all the best learning the track next week, and hopefully we'll see all that effort put to good use in this broadcast on Saturday night. So yeah, well done on the 4th place today, and thanks for coming to speak to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, so great to hear from Edward there. Good to see him jumping in for a couple of interviews for the last couple of weeks now. And yeah, well, a good race to broadcast, as I said, Adam. Full of action in the first half, a little bit more tactical maybe in the second, and bodes well hopefully for the next 2 races of the season as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the championship ends up as drop weeks start to come into effect a little bit more. You know, we're going to be on week 10 of 12, and there could be real opportunities to score big points maybe for the guys at the top of the standings in those last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Indianapolis, it looks like it's a bit like Marmite for some of these drivers. I wonder if they haven't taken a drop week by now, I wonder if they'll choose that week to maybe give it a rest and get fully prepared for Road America, which is probably one of the toughest circuits we're going to go to on the entire calendar, looking at it. A lot of walls pretty nearby. Of course, you've got the kink as well, so I'm sure that is going to be a pretty interesting one to watch in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, you're right, today was pretty good. We had all the action, all the battles out on the circuit in the first third of the race, and then we turned our attention to the timing screens for the middle part, and then we had that quite big incident in the closing stages that shook up the order towards the end in the fight for third and fourth. So yeah, been enjoyable to watch, and I look forward to see what's going to happen in the closing stages of the season.
And be good to find out what happens in the closing stages of the rest of the series that we're running here on Apex Racing TV, of course. So let's have a quick skim through the schedule for the upcoming week. Aussie Mix and Fix GT Series 9:45 GMT tomorrow morning, with our Australian crew Johnny Sumon leading the comms over there. Monday night is our very own Adam Bath with Andrew Woodhouse on World GT. Adam's series finale next week from the looks of it. How's that looking?
It's pretty good. Me and Woody were still, we're trying to get our heads around that. But yeah, I do believe it is the final race meeting of the season at Watkins Glen of all places. So looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. One of the quicker circuits on the schedule, and I reckon those GTE cars will handle well around there. So yeah, 3 20-minute sprint races, and yeah, you don't want to miss it. That's a good plug.
So that'll be 8 o'clock Monday night GMT. Then early hours of Tuesday morning or late Monday morning or late Monday night, depending on how you look at it, is Rick Matek Sports Car Series with Tyler Max and Johnny Simon again on that one. So that's 12:15, midnight 15 GMT. And then of course we're on to the final week of official iRacing series. Penultimate week, of final of iRacing series. Let's get my words out. IMSA Tuesday morning 8:45. Tuesday night 8:15 is BSR MX5 Pro Series. They're almost at the end of their monster 36-week season. Just again 2 rounds left on that. It is the series finale next week though of Sim Race as well, GT Pro Series, Wednesday night 8 o'clock with Marco Barbanera and Sam Fitzpatrick. And we're back for ARL TCR Winter Series Thursday night 8 o'clock GMT. Again 2 rounds remaining on that. IndyCar Road Friday night 8 o'clock GMT. They were at Indianapolis last night, and from what I've read in Discord, that was a crazy race. So worth catching up on last night's broadcast of IndyCar Series if you haven't already watched that. And then we're back here then for the Renault 3.5 next Saturday, as we saw. So that's our week coming up on Apex Racing TV and of course on iRacing Esports Network. So World GT, BSR MX5 Pro, Sim Racers World, and ARL TCR on all on the iRacing Esports Network. So that'll finish up our broadcast today for the Renault 3.5s. Thank you for Samu Nkomo working the cameras, Adam Bath joining me on commentary, and we shall see you all again next week at Indianapolis.